host of the Gridiron.
Fourth and goal to go with the 2. 34 seconds left to go in the ball game. This is the play right now. Takes the snap. Targeted goes in. Targeted all alone. And the quarterback keeps. Wow, what a call. Nobody touched him.
And I seen this here. One of the things that, it's an article, what turned the Giants away from Aaron Rodgers? What happened? Huh? Well, we know it with him. I mean, it's, just, does he want to play for you? Does he not want to play for you? Is he going to play? Does he want to retire? I mean, it gets old after a while. Cameron Hayward even said it, with Rodgers. He was a little fed up with Rodgers too, because Rodgers was kind of like, he was talking with the Steelers and all, if the Steelers were interested in him. Rodgers like, well, I don't know. Let me think. And Cameron's like, dude, you want to play football or not? I mean, what's going on here? He even a little fed up, with it. But I saw this article here about report reveals what dissuaded the Giants from pursuing Aaron Rodgers. Now, one thing I got to give Aaron Rodgers was he was on the Pat McAfee show, the podcast, I guess it is, and Pat was talking to Aaron, and he was saying, so what happened? With the Steelers? What happened with the Jets? What happened with the Giants? The conversations you had and all that. One thing I did find kind of funny. I mean, this is just it seems like typical Jets. Aaron Rodgers apparently flew all the way across the country. They picked the phone up, the Jets, and called them. Aaron Rodgers said, "Yo, we need to talk to you." I was like, "Oh, all right." Aaron's flying all the way across the country, and Aaron's like, "Man, this must be a long. You want to talk? I mean, this must be a long conversation. I mean, geez, man, I don't know. We're going to extend my contract. What are we going to do? Talk? What's going on? Wow, this ought to be good. They want me to fly all the way across the country to sit in a meeting and talk to them. All right, okay." So he flies all the way across the country, gets down in the meeting, and he said within like the first, I don't know what it was, 30 seconds or something, he said something. What are your plans on football? Or something like along those lines. And Aaron Rodgers was, something, whatever. And one of the guys, I can't remember, if it was the owner or the coach, a new coach, said, we're going to go in a different direction. And it wasn't so much that we're going to go in a different direction, but it's like, you couldn't have told me this on the phone. You had me fly all the way across the country to tell me you're going to go in why couldn't you just told me that on the phone? So I'd have to fly all the way across, But once again, it's like kind of like a typical kind of Jets kind of thing. But anyway, one of the things he did talk about, which to Pat McAfee, was he briefly talked about when he was talking with Brian Daboll. He said, "Coach has a beautiful football mind." He gave him some, gave the man some kudos there. Aaron Rodgers, New York Giants, Brian Daboll has a beautiful football mind. So. And and once again, that's not like, Aaron's trying to, let me throw some good vibes toward the Giants. Maybe they'll sign me. No, we don't need you. We're not going to need you. Okay, so Aaron did this just, off the top of his head, out of his heart, and all that stuff and everything. Right now, it wasn't a 3-hour-long conversation he had, talking to Pat McAfee about it, but said earlier this offseason there was a pretty good chance that the 4-time NFL MVP, Aaron Rodgers, was going to sign with the Giants. Instead, as we sit down less than a week before the draft, Rodgers remains unsigned. Giants have, of course, moved on to sign both, obviously, Wilson and Winston to fulfill their search to add a veteran quarterback. Rodgers was a guest on the Pat McAfee show on Thursday and cleared the air about the teams he spoke with during the offseason. Rodgers did briefly mention his conversation with Giants head coach Brian Daboll and went as far as calling Dabes having a beautiful football mind. I will say I did talk to Brian Daboll and had a great conversation with him. Really enjoyed him a lot. I think he has a lot of fun to talk to and has a beautiful football mind, Rodgers said. Him and Josh Allen, he had Josh in Buffalo, and Josh is one of my closest friends in the league. I just enjoyed the conversations. He's a really bright football mind. Obviously, Daboll's tenure with the Giants has been an interesting one, to say the least. So, Daboll continues to receive praise from across the league, but eventually Giants ownership needs to see some improvement as the regime enters year 4. While it does seem that the Giants made a push to sign Rodgers, it may have worked out for the better, as they will likely say still be waiting on the former Super Bowl MVP, right, to make a decision. It's really. Could you imagine? If the Giants were still trying to pursue him and Rodgers, well, I don't know. The draft comes and goes, and Aaron, want to sign? I don't know. Give me a little bit of time. It's like, once again, that's one of the problems with signing him. But Giants seriously consider pursuing Rodgers, but concerns about his age and durability were too significant for team president John Mara to move forward with a potential signing, according to Ryan Dunleavy of the New York Post. General Manager Joe Schoen and coach Brian Daboll preferred Rodgers to the other quarterbacks available in free agency, but Mara needed to be convinced. Rodgers has a reputation as an intense personality in a locker room with no shortage of off-field controversies, which is true. Giants reached out to the 3 members of the last Jets regime, head coach Robert Saleh, general manager Joe Douglas, and defensive backs coach Marquand Manuel, who's now with the Giants, right? Who said that Rodgers was no problem in the locker room, per Dunleavy. Manuel was hired in January as the Giants' new defensive pass game coordinator. There was no way around the mercurial quarterback's attention-grabbing words and antics, but the team was willing to overlook that, and especially how cheap Rodgers would be. Now, what the Giants could not get past, according to Dunleavy, was the potential for Rodgers to miss time this season due to injury. Mara has repeatedly expressed his lack of patience with the team's subpar results in the last 2 years, and Rodgers showed signs of limited mobility in 2024 after tearing his Achilles a year prior. He also openly debated retirement in each of the last few off seasons, including this one, making it clear that he's not a long-term answer at quarterback. The thing is, you could sign him for this, you could sign him for 2, but you don't know, is he going to come back the next season? You're going to have to go through this all over again. He'd play another season if he played with the Giants, right? And then it would be more drama. It would be months of drama waiting on Aaron. What's Aaron going to do? Well, if you're a football team, you can't sit around. You can give the guy a week, couple weeks or something like that. If it's the end of the season, the Giants season ends in January, right? And you give the guy a month, give him to maybe the end of February, but, we got to know what's going on, Aaron. We've given you 6 weeks. Come on. You know what I mean? Instead, the Giants went with younger players, with Wilson and Winston, on incentive-laden one-year deals to see if one can emerge as a plus starter. Incentive-laden, Jameis Winston's here for 2 seasons. Wilson's here for 1. They've also done their homework on the current draft class and could add a new quarterback next week, which is true. As I said, the one thing is with Rodgers. It's Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. He's on his own little island there. You want to say he earned it, but it's like, but it's like every year. He was doing this with Green Bay years ago, 4 or 5, whatever years ago. It's like every year. It's like as Adam Rodgers turns, it's like a soap opera. At the end of the season, so what's going on? I got to step back and take a good look at life and just see where I want to go. You got to come back and play football? I don't know. I'm not sure. Might need about 7 or 8 months to figure that out. And it's like every year. There's always a problem. So that's, it's, as I said, if we sign up for 2 seasons, at the end of next season, you'd be waiting around 4 or 5 months for the guy to make up his mind. So it's just best they moved on. I'm happier with Russell Wilson and Jameson Winston. So, But he did. There was what was interesting though, because McAfee said, so how all these conversations like with the Giants, the Jets, they had, the Jets let him go, and the Steelers and whoever else and Rodgers did wind up saying, well, I'm not going to go into specific details of every conversation. But one thing I did want to say is that I enjoyed my time with talking with Brian Daboll. So he went out, and that was pretty good. Now, hearing, nice stories about Dabes and the success he had with Josh Allen, all that's fantastic. But, as we know, Mr. Mara needs to see some success on the scoreboard. Until we start seeing success with the wins and losses, you can say whatever you want about Dabes, all nice things, but it's not going to save his job.